Hello people, welcome to Laytown train station. I'm going up to Dublin on the train to walk the Tolka Dublin Port Greenway. I done it there when it opened a couple of months back, right? So I'm going up to do that today, and you're all very welcome to join me, my friends, so stay tuned, okay?
The satellites explode. It must be bad news overload. Then we salute eternity and pay our final.
People, just got off here at Clontarf train station, one stop before Connolly. The reason why I changed over to the Dart is because the train coming up stops, last stop is at Holt Junction, Donamead, and goes straight into Connolly, so that's why I got onto the Dart there, electric train. So let's rock and roll and do this walk of the Tolka Greenway, okay? There's the express heading to Belfast, look. I think that's after increasing its capacity lately. I think it's every hour now the express goes from Dublin Connolly to Belfast, right? If you're interested. Right, let's do this walk. Let's rock and roll, my friends. Cool bicycle, isn't it, with the child in the front basket. So in here, look, there's a match going on in here, and it's what do you call those pitches? The all-weather pitches, look. It's a pretty big soccer pitch. We're after having serious rain last night from 10 o'clock till around about 11 o'clock this morning. Lots of flooding down south in County Cork, down that direction, you know. Anyway, Stay tuned, my friends. Stay tuned. Just over there, people, is the railway line, right? Going back into Connolly, and that way, if you want to go to Belfast, right? But just over there, that area there is Fairview. You probably can't see it from here, but that's where they do all the maintenance on the electric trains, the dark electric trains over here. Huge big sheds there they have for the electric trains, for anybody who wants to know. Okay? Right, people, I'm now entering into East Point Business Park, right? Don't ask me what companies are up here, but all in here is East Point Business Park, right? And just over there is a brand new building that's going down along the north wall, right? And you know something? Years ago, when I walked up in Dublin, I had a Ford Orion car and I left it in to get it serviced, right? Was going to work. It was coming down along that road over there, just down to the lights before you turn left to go up along the, what do you call it? What I say was again, the north wall, is it? And when to hit the brakes, I had no brakes, right? And don't ask me how, but when I keep driving the car, there's two people coming here with a dog, so just wait 1 second, people. Hello. So yeah, so some people don't even say hello back to you. Jesus Christ. Doesn't cost anything to say hello, you know. Anyway, yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, so I had a Ford Orion car. The brakes failed me just down there at the lights. And I kept driving the car. All the way around by the Point, across the Eastlink toll bridge, out along the coast road, about a mile from Blackrock College, right? Don't ask me how I didn't hit a car. Just don't ask me how I didn't hit a car. You're trying to stop my car using the gears only. And I pulled into a car park along the coast road about a mile from Blackrock College. Actually, I was working for some contractors in Blackrock College, and I walked up to the job, told them what happened. They drove down, collected me, and they had all their vans and all their cars all bought off a Toyota garage there beside Blackrock College. And they got the top mechanic to come down and look at my car, and he examined the car and he said I could have been killed stone dead, right? Couldn't get over whoever done the job on the car, and I should have sued him, which I didn't, obviously, right? Yes, that's the story about years ago when I had a Ford Orion car and I drove up here in Dublin with no brakes in it. Crazy stuff, my friends. Right, so out here now is the Tolka Estuary, right? Over there, people, is Clontarf along there. So here's all these companies. I don't know who they are or what they are along here, my friends. The last time I was up here, all these trees, the leaves were still on them, and they were in, not really torn colour, and it was lovely. But now, if you look, the leaves are nearly all gone, blown off them. And people in the distance there, over there, you can just see the top of it. I don't know if you can see with the GoPro. Clontarf Castle, right? I've done a video of Clontarf Castle. Check it out. Clontarf Castle and up further, St. Anne's Park. If you're interested, right? Yeah, a lovely place to go if you're looking for a meal. It's you know, it's a nice place now, I have to say. Very trendy. Right, so we still have a long walk to go, my friends.
Here's to the good days, here's to the sorrows. If this is a mistake, I know about tomorrow. I don't wanna fight no more, cause I don't feel the need no more, no. Just wanna make it stop. Maybe it's something in the water, or maybe we just hit the end of the road. Right now it doesn't even matter. It's too late not to let it go. And that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. You start to get dressed and then we cry, cause we both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. We had a good run, don't say we didn't. I was your first love, and you were my first one. Cheers to all the memories, the venom and the remedies, yeah. Promise I won't forget, yeah. Maybe it's something in the water, or maybe
Right, people.
we just
So this is officially
hit the end of the road.
the start of the Tolka Estuary Greenway at Dublin Port, right? So obviously they must close this at night time, which I think is a very good idea. Look at all the holly trees they planted here. Now, I'm not too sure whether these mature trees here, I don't know whether I was reading about, I don't know whether there's 250 or 500 trees along this walkway, right? But they're after planting over 5,000 other trees and shrubs and stuff, like, you know what I mean, that'll attract, like, obviously wildlife and the bees. And as you walk along here, you'll see it all. Like, look at that there now. That's all new, you see, all these plants, look. And they got new trees on the banks there as well. And lights, they've lots of lights, and as well the lighting is supposed to be kind of what's the word, not subdued, would it? It won't interfere with wildlife, basically speaking, at night time and stuff. It's kind of, yeah, special lights for the wildlife. Right, we'll keep going, my friends, we'll keep going. And I'm just looking, people, in here. It's a huge big parking bay for lorries and articulated lorries mainly, and they're all numbered, like, you know, C50, C49, C48, C47, C46. So they're obviously allocated a ticket with a number of where they park up. I'm sure that's where they park when they're waiting for their ship, you know, before they exit Dublin Port to wherever they're going. In here, and there's loads of information signs along here, which is very good. Look, it says, what do we do here, right? So there's the thing at Dublin Port. The state-owned Dublin Port is the largest freight and passenger port in Ireland. We welcome ships, trucks and visitors from all over the world. On average, between 20 and 22 ships arrive here every single day, along with 5,000 trucks. Almost 2 million tourists arrive each year and over 600,000 vehicles. We handle most of the trade in and out of the Republic of Ireland. When you get home, have a look at everything in your house. There's a pretty good chance that a lot of what you take for granted every day arrived in Ireland on a ship that came into Dublin Port. So there you go, my friends. Fairly interactive, you know. I'll sit down here for a second. Yeah, you know something, people, another person I know, close to the family, passed away. Their funeral is today. I didn't go to the funeral, you know, but it doesn't make me feel any less sad, you know, and sympathetic towards the family. I just hate going to funerals. I hate them. You know something, people? I know this may sound like a morbid thing to be talking about, you know, on this video, but we're in that kind of month, November now. It's kind of coming towards December. I call it a reflective month. You know what I mean? You start analysing your year gone by, and the highs and the lows, and what you should or shouldn't have done, all that kind of stupid stuff, right? But listen, you know something about grief? The older you get, grief and loss, right? Nobody really escapes this, isn't that right? And do you know something? There are still some people that are very insensitive and very impatient when it comes to grief. They expect people to kind of snap out of the grief a year later or whatever. And if they're not snapping out of it, they get very impatient with them. And why don't they snap out of it? You know, life goes on, blah, 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 right? Which is true, right? But here's a quote I found. I have these little quotes. I keep them on my phone, right? But I thought this was good about grief, right? If you can find it here, people. Let me see now. Where is it? Yeah, people, listen to this. If you simply cannot understand why someone is grieving so much for so long, then consider yourself fortunate that you do not understand, right? Now, I think that's very, very good, isn't it? Because you know something, people? When the Grim Reaper comes knocking on your own personal door, it changes. You're not the same anymore. You're changed for the rest of your life. You really are. Yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that, just because I'm after someone else that I knew is after passing away. Yeah. So listen, people, that's really it I want to say about that. Got a big bus, look. And here's a lovely little walkway in through the trees here. So here's information about what grows here, right? By including native species in our planting, we have created habitats that will provide shelter and nesting sites for pollinators and will support bird life and other insects. You might spot a number of mature trees that were here before work began on the Greenway. They include pine, willow and sycamore. In addition, we have planted more than 200 large trees, thousands of smaller woodland trees and native wildflowers which are adapted to coastal conditions and should thrive here at the port. Look at the bee. Isn't it great, isn't it? There's O'Toole Transport. I heard your man that runs that company, he's a tool. I think this is a great initiative. Right beside the busiest port in Ireland, my friends. A lovely greenway to walk on. And you can cycle out here as well. So it's great. Look at the berries here on this, isn't it lovely? Aren't they lovely? Gorgeous. Oh yeah, people, just one more thing. When I was talking about grief back there, right? There's a fantastic sculpture, right? I think it's a brilliant sculpture. I don't know who sculpted it, right? That depicts grief and loss, right? I'll put it up on the video here now, right? Like it's just, I think like it's a whole hole missing here where your heart and your whole stomach is, you know. I think it's brilliant because that's exactly how you feel. You feel just ripped apart from the inside out, you know what I mean? Not a pleasant feeling, my friends, for sure. Anyway, let's get back to this lovely walk. I think that's really cool. Look, that's concrete. But if you look, they use planks, and you can see the knots of the planks. And, you know, they designed the timber in on the face of the concrete. Really, really good. Now, here's another stop here, information place here, right? So, it's telling me, yeah, I'm looking over here towards Clontarf, right? And that's inside Clontarf Castle, look. It's beautiful on the inside. Since the 11th century, Clontarf has been important in the story of Dublin. It has been the site of a famous battle, a home for Norman knights and a busy fishing village. Once a small community of fishermen who lived in the sheds, now Clontarf is a vibrant suburb of Dublin. So that's across over there, my friends, right? And here's on about Clontarf Castle. A castle has stood in Clontarf since the 12th century when the Normans arrived in Ireland. In the late 1600s, it came into the hands of the Vernon family, who owned it for the next 300 years. Now Clontarf Castle is a luxurious hotel which combines its rich history with modern elegance. So that Castle Hotel is over there, and anybody can go into that for dinner. It's lovely. As I said, you have a video on my channel about it. Look at this here. In December 1821, William Hutchinson was responsible for the Sandy Cove lifeboat. On a stormy night, he set out with his 14 colleagues to attempt to save the crew of Ellen from Liverpool, which had been wrecked on the rocky shoreline. As they started to take the crew off the ship, the boat was swamped by the waves and 3 lifeboat men drowned. A 4th was washed overboard as they returned to the shore. Dublin Port granted pensions to the families of the 2 married men and to the parents of the others. William Hutchinson was given a silver tea service to the value of £50. William worked for the lifeboat services for the rest of his life and was involved in countless rescues. In 1861, after 60 years of operating the lifeboat service, Dublin Port began negotiations with the RNLI to take over responsibility of the port lifeboats. And you know something, people? They reckon there's over 300 shipwrecks here in Dublin Bay here, right, off this port area. Oh look, this is the Battle of Clontarf, 1014, right? On the 23rd of April 1014, just across the water at Clontarf, Brian Boru, the High King of Ireland, famously defeated the Viking and Leinster armies. The battle was fierce, and although only lasting a day, the loss of life was considerable, with many thousands of men killed on both sides. Brian was already an old man by 1014, and it is not known whether he took part in the fighting himself. But he did make the ultimate sacrifice, as despite the fact that his army was victorious, he was killed along with his son and grandson. Over the centuries, the Battle of Clontarf has achieved legendary status as a heroic struggle between the Irish and the Vikings. So this is saying the 20th century Battle of Clontarf, right? So in the early 1980s, the residents of Clontarf took on their own battle against plans to store gas at Tolka Road. Cavern System Limited applied to Dublin Corporation to construct an underground storage and handling facility, including underground caverns for liquid petroleum gas at the Tolka Road extension. When permission was granted, the Clontarf Residents Association appealed on several grounds, including the impact it would have on the environment and ecology, as well as the potential risk it might cause in a densely populated area. They took their case to the High Court in February 1983 and presented their appeal through an oral hearing. In January 1984, a decision was made. They had won. People power, my friends. Sometimes it works.
There's dinner in the yard, out behind the cars. Tonight we're gonna do something different. I will make the things that I know how to make. You will make something more delicious. A sweet potato pie on a flimsy paper plate. Baby, I don't think it gets much better. There isn't much to keep. We lay down and fall asleep till the morning comes around to find love. I still keep with me these little memories.
Dublin Bay is full of the sounds of birds throughout the year as they come and go depending on the season. In the winter months you might hear brent geese who fly here to escape the cold in high Arctic Canada. The bar-tailed godwit also arrives here in the autumn from Russia and Scandinavia. It's usually seen feeding along the shorelines of estuaries as it wades through the shallow water. Probably the sound we all associate with the coast all year round is the call of the gull. Among the many species you'll see around the port is the black-headed gull. See all these plants here, or bushes here. Okay, so they're not in bloom now, but Bajali, I think they're called. Butterfly, I call them butterfly bushes, but they attract the butterflies in the summertime. It's great. So this is information about Dublin Bay. Stretching from Skerries in the north to Dalkey Island in the south, Dublin Bay is enjoyed by seafarers of all types. Here you'll find container ships and pleasure boats, wildlife and windsurfers, cruise liners and canoes, making the most of all that the bay has to offer. Since 2015, Dublin Bay has been a UNESCO biosphere in recognition of its rare and internationally important habitats and wildlife, some of which you might see during your walk. The Dublin Port Company and Fáilte Ireland are amongst several members of the Dublin Bay Biosphere Partnership. Dublin Bay has been described as the cradle of the city, with its arms outstretched to welcome visitors and embrace its citizens. So, whether you're living here or passing through, why not discover all that the coastline around the bay has to offer? It might just surprise you. This is to do with walking at the port. Isn't this great, all the information? Maybe a lot of people are not into this, but anyway, I just love reading all the information stuff. It's great. Look, For generations of Dubliners, if your father had worked in Dublin Port, there was a good chance that you would too. Working on the docks was physically hard and sometimes dangerous. Loading and unloading goods was back-breaking work for tough men, and no 2 days were ever the same. Coal was unloaded with shovel that could lift up to 26 kilograms of coal in one go, and timber beams and bags of cement were carried off the ship on shoulders. Although it was tough work, there was always a strong sense of comradeship and humour between the dock workers. Today's Dublin Port is a state-owned landlord port with 150 staff, but there are more than 4,500 men and women working in a variety of companies based here. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. From here you can see the busy port to your right are multiple tank farms consisting of 60 tanks and covering 10% of the port land. Each year 65% of all petroleum imported into Ireland comes through Dublin Port, and that provides 31% of the total primary energy used in Ireland. Also is in the distance you will see two chimneys. These are part of the ESB North Wall Power Station, which opened in 1949 using oil. Today it uses gas to make electricity. We sometimes forget that we are an island nation and almost everything we need is imported by sea. From our cars to our kitchens, food to fuel, a huge amount of the everyday things we take for granted are imported. Dublin Port is Ireland's premier port and our gateway to the world, and it has always been that way. It's that our main exports were bacon, biscuits, butter, cattle, eggs, extra stout, farm produce and whisky, while our imports included barley, cement, coal, flour, iron, oil, sugar, tobacco and wheat. And while we Irish are known for our fondness for a cup of tea, it has also always been imported, mostly through the port. Yeah, we can't forget the most important import, so we can't. A cup of tea, my friends. The cup of tea. Shipwrecks in Dublin Bay. In the past, Dublin Bay was so exposed that shipwrecks were common. It is believed that about 1,500 were lost as they tried to approach the port, and there are around 300 wrecks in the bay. Wow! In March 1947, the Norwegian vessel Bolivar ran aground on the Kisk Bank. Although parts of the ship were salvaged, a large section of the wreck remains below the surface. The mail boat Leinster was torpedoed by a German submarine on the 10th of October 1918, 5 miles east of the Kish Light. Within weeks of the end of World War I, of the 757 on board, 500 of the crew were lost at sea. Wow. Tragic times, my friends, tragic times. And there's the two big chimneys there, if I was reading on there about the ESB electricity there, right? Just looking over here, people, look at the articulated lorries here, Circle K, right? So they deliver the fuel to all the Circle K petrol stations or service stations around the country, right? And on the side of it, it's saying this truck runs on hydrogenated vegetable oil. So there you go, my friends. Look at the size of those big tanks. Look to hold all the fuel. Millions of gallons in here, my friends. 1843, Daniel O'Connell. The Act of Union came into effect on the 1st of January 1801, leading to the creation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The meeting in Clontarf was to call for the repeal of the Act of the Restoration of the Irish Parliament. 2 British warships steamed into Dublin Port to ensure the rally did not take place, although O'Connell insisted his movement was non-violent and called off the meeting to prevent the slaughter of the people. He was arrested 3 days later. You know, people, that Daniel O'Connell, I forget what year now it was, 18 something anyway I think, pulled a crowd of 1 million people up onto the hill of Tara in County Meath. Imagine that, like, way before television. I don't know if radio was out then, or no smartphones. You know what I mean? And he pulled 1 million people up to the hill of Tara. Amazing, isn't it? Protecting the boards of Dublin Bay. 2 species of tern nest here in the port, the common and Arctic. Boardwatch Ireland researchers and monitor these boards with the support of Dublin Port Company, who are particularly protective of this colony due to their threatened status across Europe. The pontoon is specially designed to provide the seabirds with a safe place to nest and has been fitted with boards around its edge to protect it from predators, especially rats who like to raid the nest for eggs. From here you also have a good view of the wooden bridge that links the North Bull Island Nature Reserve with the mainland. The island developed because of the construction of the North Bull Wall, which allowed mud and sand flats to form and the dune system to develop. The reserve is a haven for local and visiting wildlife. It has many important designations for the habitats and species it supports, including being a special area of conservation and a special protection area, and it is an integral part of the Dublin Bay UNESCO biosphere. Right, so over there, I think that's what they're saying, is a special pontoon for the terns, and there's timber to stop the rats getting up. Can the rats swim? I'm sure that's what they're talking about over there, right? And yeah, and then there's Bull Island. So Bull Island is just straight ahead of me here. Look, straight over there. There's a golf course on it, and there's also a nature reserve right over here. And 2 bridges brings you out to Bull Island. There's the first one you can see in the distance here. The cars go out, and there's another one then further on down as well. So this is that all along there now is still Clontarf, my friends. And straight ahead is Holt Head, Holt Peninsula, right? I have videos from there, people, so check them out, right? Here comes Mr. O'Toole again in his lorry. This is a clam bucket. It was used around the port for loading and unloading dry bulk cargo from ships. However, its main role was for dredging and excavation between the Custom House and the East Link Bridge. Wow. You learn something new every day, my friends, don't you? Hello. Right, people, so this here is saying Dublin's 3 rivers, okay? So you have the Tolka, which goes into this is the Tolka Estuary here now, right? From here you are looking across the estuary of the Tolka River, at just less than 34 kilometres long. It flows from Meath into County Dublin, across the north of the city, before it enters Dublin Bay, here on the north side of the port, between East Wall and Clontarf, right? Then of course we have the famous Liffey. Flowing through the heart of Dublin is the Liffey. It rises about 80 kilometres away in the Wicklow Mountains and meanders through Kildare and North County Dublin before joining the sea here at the port. The city and its port developed around this river, making it our gateway to the world. And then there's the Dodder River. The Dodder flows into the sea on the south side of Dublin Port at Ringsend and is about 28 kilometres long. The Dodder Walk, a pathway that runs alongside the river from Rathfarnham to Ringsend, is enjoyed by Dubliners and visitors to the city alike. And I've done that walk, my friends. Check that out on the video on my channel as well, okay? Lighthouse of Dublin Port. In 1810, the Lighthouses Ireland Act extended the powers of the Ballast Board to cover all the lighthouses, beacons and sea marks around the coast of Ireland. Today, this responsibility rests with the Commissioners of Irish Lights. 4 remain under the management of the Dublin Port Company. From here you can see the North Bull Lighthouse. It is one of a pair of lighthouses at the entrance to Dublin Port. The other is Poolbeg. It was built between 1878 and 1879 and is painted green, which means it is kept on the starboard or right side for ships entering the port. So, in the distance there, my friends, the Poolbeg Lighthouse, right? I have a video of that. I actually walked all the way out to that there. That's a long walk if you want to walk from there into the centre of the city and back. And there's a ship coming in there now in a minute. Right, people, so this is the laneways here now, up into the ferry port, right? And as you can see, Terminal 1 and Terminal 5 is Irish ferries. So look, so Terminal 1 there, 2 lanes for the trucks. Terminal 2 is for Stena Line, so there's 2 lanes for the trucks there. Terminal 2 Stena Line for cars and buses, and the right hand lane is for exit out of the port. There's 3 ferries here now at the minute. They'll all be heading out, though I'd say soon enough. Right, people, so this is this is the end of the Tolka Estuary Dublin Port Greenway, right? So technically you could walk all the way from Dublin City to here and hop on one of those ferries if you wanted to, if you hadn't got a car, right? Yeah, you could do that on the walk I'm after doing there now. There's 3 ferries in there at the minute. There's 2 Irish ferries in, and there's a Stena Line, right? So yeah. Right, people, I hope you enjoyed that walk. The Tolka Dublin Port Greenway. Lovely walk, and it's not strenuous because it's all on the level, you know what I mean? Right, we'll head back and I'll wrap the video up. I might stop at the Circle K for a cup of tea on the way back, or else I might just head straight back into the city for a bowl of soup and a pot of tea, my friends, okay? So stay tuned, okay? Right, people, I didn't bother stopping at Circle K on the way back. So I'm back at Clontarf Station here. That's from Clontarf Station to the end of that Greenway is almost 5 miles, okay? That's return now, right? So listen, till next Sunday. Yeah, I always upload videos on Sunday after 5 p.m. So if you like the video, please give us a like. And if you're new to the channel, please press subscribe. It's free, okay? And I'm going off now back into the centre of Dublin, people, for a well-deserved hot bowl of country vegetable soup, some chicken salad sandwiches, and the inevitable pot of tea, my friends, right? So, as usual, I've absolutely no idea where my next video is going to come from, but it's going to come from somewhere. So stay tuned, my friends, okay?